Hey YouTube, good morning. I'm going to do a quick couple drives today on the new version that dropped, and just to show you real quick, we are on 10.69.2, dropped this morning. Seems like a fairly small release, so I'll try to get some videos out for those of you that are anxious and hopefully getting it. I hope they roll this out to everybody. Who knows, maybe by the time I'm even done putting this video out to everybody, it's going to start rolling wider, as long as it's going smooth. This is the Memorial Park Drive. I put a Twitter poll out. Look, I just engaged, and it's kind of waiting on that traffic right there. Kind of very hesitant right out of the gate on an unmarked road. Much wider unmarked road than I normally film on, but just to show that hesitancy right there that it was showing. This is an unprotected right-hand turn. It should show the creep line and jump out, and then we'll do our typical Memorial trip round and back and try to get these out today. All right. First of all, I'm going to apologize for my voice a little bit. I've been up in Annapolis this weekend, visiting some very old friends for a reunion we had this weekend, and it was a whole lot of fun. But it was very loud, and I kind of lost my voice, so I probably don't have the same voice I normally have on camera. So anyway, apologies for that. What do we think this 10.69.2 is? So the only thing I know about is what Elon said, is that the dev team found a VRU bug with respect to stopping for pedestrians, and it said something about stopping for pedestrians within 50 feet. So if you remember my last Memorial Park drive, so this very drive on the last version, there was one scenario where a pedestrian jumped into the crosswalk and then the car stopped after crossing the crosswalk, and had identified the pedestrian as red and everything like that. So that's the only scenario I can think of that sort of sounded like what Elon was referring to. So I don't know if we'll get that same exact scenario again today, but a lot of other folks have noticed some VRU, and that stands for vulnerable road users. So think of it as pedestrians, walkers, bikers, all those sort of assets and obstructions, and the sensitivity to them on the side of the road seemed to be extra strong in creating some braking events that might not have been warranted. Yeah, so I'm going to show you the route. This is the typical route that normally happens up on the planner. I usually just disengage it up here at an intersection and take a right to kind of force it back into the neighborhood. So this intersection right here, for those of you that watch every one of my videos know I'm making a couple double green light scenarios. If you see how this road curves to the right, I also get that double green light pause when this light just above me now is green and this next one that you see right here is green. As I'm coming around the corner, it pauses at that first light, even if the second one is green. So it kind of fits that theory that maybe it can't see it yet, and that curve is similar to the longer distance on that other set of lights I've used. Anyway, lots of people talking about it. Hadn't figured that one out yet, but we'll just keep documenting it, and if there's some useful data in there, maybe the team will fix it or whatever. Okay, so we had a nice pause for that car turning right, and this acceleration afterwards, I'm hoping to see, that was fine. I'd call it a little bit slow. Although we have a car here in front of us that it's slowing down for also, and a nice reacceleration there. So actually that was really good. That felt natural. Granted, we do have a red light and stopped cars in front of us, so it may be preemptively slowing down for them too. All right, while we're here at this intersection, I don't think we're going to see any new asset details on this one. Those of you that are watching this for the first time, on the side of the roads when we're in the neighborhood, I want you to notice those, they almost look like little trash piles in the rendering. I think that's what they're calling UFOs in the release notes. All right, here's where I disengage and turn to the right until the remapping happens. And re-engaged. Yeah, so the things on the side of the road that kind of show up as unidentified objects, they look like little gray mountainous trash piles on the rendering. That's what we think those are right now. And you know, they can be used for almost anything really. Hence the word unidentified, I suppose. All right, this intersection, sometimes it takes it a little wider than it needs to. We'll look for that today. Looks like it's going to be protected with a green arrow today, also with a follow me car. All right, let's see how it does. Yeah, that same wide turn, and it had to even come back a little bit more to the left, but it's fine. I just noticed that it takes that turns differently than others for some reason. Okay, a little bit of a brief on what's coming up ahead. We've got 2 new roundabouts that are not on the map. I've driven this several different times. It is generally done fairly successful. Obviously, traffic interactions during the circle each time make it a little bit different and unique. But generally, it's done pretty good with it. So we'll see. They're right up here on the right, and we'll take a look at that also. And I think I'm going to change the route here from what planned today also. A little bit of a pause there that was unnecessary. It shouldn't have braked right there. Now we have a yield, and it looks like a yield with 1 car to yield to. It's that silver car there. He's going straight. Now this car is going to proceed, and now are we... Okay, so we treat it like a full-on stop. Oh, and it's not going anywhere. I don't have anybody behind me. It just stopped. Stopped at traffic control is what it says. Oh, I'm looking at the notification now. So it says stopped at traffic control, use accelerator to continue. And then it continued. And now I'm kind of letting the car let all these guys through. And it's just getting taken advantage of here. And now it needs to go. All right, I'm tapping the accelerator there. Okay, that was as hesitant as it's ever been. And I had to nudge it twice there. And a little creeping forward thing there. Whoa, wow. I have no idea what that stop and pause there was. A lot of jerkiness there. That was more uncomfortable than I've ever seen there before. All right, I'm going to modify the route here. So I just disengaged to force this route over here to the right at the request of many of the commenters that preferred this route due to the VRU interactions that happen in this little village. So that was actually pretty rough. And I would call it hesitancy braking rough. It was pausing for things that weren't there. It wouldn't even enter that traffic circle without an accelerator stalk, even though there was no one there. So it was actually confused. That's a little disappointing. All right, sometimes on this S-curve, I get blinkers almost every time. Usually I get one right here, and there's the blinker. Okay, so that's still there, unnecessary on an S-curve, but somehow it's got something in the algorithm still to do that, and I'll mark that. See if we get a left blinker here. There's the left blinker. Yep, pretty reliable. Somehow that's still in the code. And we'll just go here through Riverside. This time of day, there's kind of a lot of walkers, probably a lot of people getting ready to have brunch. We might get some interesting interactions here. The thing about this road here is all of these cars that are parked could very easily, you know, put the reverse lights on and start backing out. So when I drive through here, I'm very acutely looking for white lights. Nice. The pedestrians were waiting there with no intent to cross or jaywalk, and the car didn't act like it was going to pause at all there. That was good. All right, now we're slowing down based on the car ahead. We're below the posted speed. This is a more comfortable speed in this little village anyway. Okay, so we didn't have any VRU interactions there, but just kind of talking through sometimes how those cars park. And one of the trickier issues I think that I do as a human looking for cars backing up. Now, obviously, you know, the cameras on this car should detect a car backing out pretty quickly. And I think we've seen evidence of that plenty of times before. Okay, we got our first flashing light on this drive coming up here. We do have some cars in front of us that might be slowing us down. Flashing, flashing. Didn't see any red that time. And I didn't feel any braking. So that's good. Sometimes those flashing yellow lights flash a quick red on the screen occasionally. We'll slow down for that car exiting, and a nice reacceleration back up to the speed limit. All right, we've currently got a green light. This is a very tight intersection here where we've got to cross and get into the right lane very quickly. Light turned yellow. It didn't even pause and proceed. Blinkers already to get in the right lane, mapping it, and jumped over very quickly. That was perfect. I wouldn't have expected anything different on that intersection. So it can turn right on red here. There's the stop. Let's see if it does it. Now it's going. There we go. Oh, now you gotta follow through with it. Okay. Kind of an uncomfortable pause in an area that it was wide open and it should have proceeded. There were no other cars there, but it kind of very cautiously paused. Big pothole right there. My edge of the wheel just caught it a little bit, so this is a pretty bad road for potholes in this spot. Sometimes they're marked off. I'm not going to drive over an enormous one, but I'm just commenting that there's a lot of potholes in this section that the Tesla doesn't know how to acknowledge, slow down for, or try to go around yet. All right, we got some jaywalking pedestrians here with a green light. Let's see how the car reacts. There's a slowdown for them, a little bit of a deviation around and proceed. So it completely recognized them, saw them, slowed down, and had a little bit of a curve around to go around them. So that was probably the first VRU interaction we had. Okay, that's the end of the first leg. Feedback on that one was very uncomfortable uncertainty around those traffic circles. Not exactly sure what was going on. That was definitely a different behavior than the other two builds I've driven so far. Had to kind of nudge it with the accelerator. It just kind of was jumping around in what was pretty straightforward with no traffic. Not a lot of VRU interaction and kind of a light traffic day here, so there wasn't a whole lot more to talk about. But when that's the case, that's good news, when you don't have a lot to worry about. Okay, we'll do the return leg here and see what we see. Got our nice sharp turn to the left here. I know I don't have the 360 camera on today. It's kind of a little bit of a rush, and it's wide open, no issues there, and jumping straight out. But if you look back at the screen that just passed us, the projected median network was jumping all over the place at that intersection. It kind of kept trying to put a network somewhere that was inappropriate. So that's going to kind of be good to watch the evolution of that drivable space median network. A little bit of a slowdown for this guy. He jumped out in front of us. That was a nice pause with a nice reacceleration. That was good. All right, we got this car pulling over to the right to parallel park, and that's an interesting one. So it went from a follow me car to a parked car, and actually the car did a U-turn behind us. So that was really interesting. It had to transition from two different types of objects. Stay behind it, it pulled over, oh, it parked. Okay, I think I'm back. My camera got hot there. What I was trying to point out there was that the car transitioned from a follow me car into a parked car that it had to deviate around. And that was interesting. It transitioned very smoothly. All right, we have a nice creep turn here with a two-way stop sign, no traffic. It shouldn't do this without any problem. Couple of flashers here. Should do these no problem. It's always done these okay. I like to look and just see if the lights turn red on my screen at all. This may be the first time. Oh, right there. It turned red at the last second as they went right underneath me. So there's something about being just above the car where it perceives a little bit of red. Got an open door where the guy jumping in here. You can see the open door was there, closed, and it kept on going. So it identified it, a good 100 meters away, which was nice. Got to see it on the screen and everything. Felt a little bit of a pause as it evolved, but then it continued. Okay, we're going back through those traffic circles that we had a little bit of trouble with before, in a little bit more of a complex direction here. We'll see if it has any more confidence or if it treats it the same. It's got a blinker on. Now it stopped and is continuing here. So this time it continued a little bit more smoothly. Kind of jerky there, but it's all right. It's navigating visually because this is not on the map. And our right turn here is misplaced on the map a little bit. It's going to have to continue on visually. And it usually figures it out. And it did. There we go. It figured it out. So you can kind of sense that it's finding its way visually there as the map is a little bit different. Pedestrian here marked in blue, but he stopped. So that was a little bit of oversensitivity. Now I think we're stopped due to this other car. Okay, this video is getting all caught up because my camera's hot. I've done a lot of filming already. I've already completed the unprotected left turn testing, so my camera's just getting hot. Anyway, I was trying to comment a little bit on that VRU there, the pedestrian on the edge of the road. Even though he did not have intent, it was being very cautious around him. Okay, we got one unprotected left turn on this route. It's this one right here. And I know without the 360 camera, it's not. All right, this camera keeps cutting off. I'm probably gonna have to cut this video short. It looks like we can possibly squeak out right now. It looks like we're gonna go for it. Go to the median maybe and continue. Nope, stopped in the median, that's fine. There's one car to come, that car, and we're gonna jump in the lane. So I got that unprotected left okay. It was very aggressive getting to the median, and that. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So I was trying to talk about that unprotected left turn. I thought it did a really good job. It tried to jump into the median very aggressively and wait. Once it got into the median, it had to pause for a second for one oncoming car that was in a distant lane, and it did that just fine and aggressively jumped into the traffic. We have one more unprotected left turn here at this green light, if the light's not with an arrow, and then that wraps it up. I think my highlights on 69.2 is it's ready for release to you guys. It's got a few slowdowns and pauses, but that really hasn't changed from the .1 release. Maybe the Tesla team has some data that shows that this is a lot more polished. To me, it feels like, it's very similar, very safe to the other ones, but nothing that would prevent it from being released to everybody. I'm comfortable with the way this goes here. All right, I needed to stop there. It might have done that one just fine, but I was talking and I was not comfortable with where it put me in the road. As you see, this guy had to go around me. I know I'm kind of having to use my own acceleration. But anyway, 69.2. I hope you guys all get it really, really soon. Have a great day. Sorry for the camera troubles. We'll talk to you soon.